What is going on, dear chosen ones? All right, let's get right into it. I hope you guys can hear me. All golden. Perfect. What is going on, guys? I'm going to talk about the human biofield. I just want to go over my notes just so it's kind of put there. And whoever finds this, consider yourself lucky. All right, number one, you got issues with your biofield, which again we've talked about the biofield a little bit in some of the past videos of, it's basically the accumulation of your 13 bodies, including your physical body. So we have 12 subtle bodies, and the accumulation of them is really just everything about you. Like we used to think that our spirit is in our body, and that's not correct. Our body is in our spirit. So if you could see it, would be your spirit, your soul, and then some of the other bodies like the etheric, etc. I'm gonna go a little bit more into that. But number one, the first problem that can happen is when your biofield shifts front. Okay, when your biofield, it basically just shifts front, it's because you have a fear of the future. Okay, you're only living in dreams, you're only living in what's going to be, you're not thankful in the now, you're not here, you're not present. And so if you're not thankful for what you currently have and your thoughts are only in the future, you better know that your biofield, if I were to measure your aura, your field of energy, it would be, if I was like this, it would be here, right? Which means it would be exposing the back, like your lower back, your buttocks, your the back of your legs, right? If you can almost imagine, kind of like this shifting just like that. Got it? So the solution, of course, as I said, is being present. Okay, number two is when your biofield goes to the back. Okay, it's the opposite problem, where there's thoughtless action. The people that are go, 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 like act first, think later. It's all about like, just go, go, go. It's hasty decision, it's hustle. And of course, the solution is to slow down and think. Slow down and think. Okay. Issue number three is when your biofield goes to the left. Okay. And when your biofield goes to the left, it exposes the right. And I want you guys to think of your biofield as just like your safety suit, right? Your super suit. And so when you don't have that and it's moved, it's going to start like energy is not going to be going into that place, and it's going to start to decay, and that's when issues arise. So for example, if the left is if your biofield is moved to the left, you're going to experience things like stones in your liver and your bile and gallbladder issues. Okay, and you're going to experience that on your right side because your biofield is shifted to the left. Okay, and what causes it, you might be asking? Resentment, bitterness causes to go to the left. Unforgiveness, anger, horrible things, those things will shift your biofield and it'll be really, really bad. And the solution, of course, is to let go, my friend. Is forgiveness. Is the opposite of unforgiveness, the opposite of bitterness. That will correct back your field. Pretty interesting how we're built. Number four, when your biofield shifts to the right. We're talking about perfectionism. We're talking about increased pride. We're talking about like the excellent student syndrome. Okay. And the way to get out of this one is to literally apologize to all the people you've criticized. It's to humble yourself. It's to confess your sins. Psalm 51. These are some of the key things to get your biofield to go back to center when it's shifted right. And of course, it's going to expose your heart on your left side. It's going to expose your left ear, your left eye, your pancreas. Okay, those are things that it will expose. And if you have any issues with some of the things, I said, examine yourself whether it's shifted left, right, front, or back, which are the ones that we've seen. Okay, and really just stop imposing your opinion on others. You need to be able to relax, let go, accept people the way they are, accept yourself the way you are, but in humility, and confessing your sins. Like that's literally one of the best things. Like just you and God. Not talking about a priest. I'm just talking about you and God, and that will shift your biofield again to center. Okay, number five. when your biofield is compressed laterally. What does this mean laterally? It means that it's like a sandwich, right? Like from here to here, and it's just like fat on the sides. Okay, if you can almost imagine it. If you were looking at it from above, it will look sort of like this. Okay, and what causes it is modesty, shyness, indecision, self-doubt, varieties of different fears, right? And it will expose your liver, your pancreas as well, just because of the shape is not being protected. And the solution is for you to have determination in yourself, willpower, confidence. That will do. That will do. Okay. And it's crazy because entities, like different dark entities, they can give you energy when you don't have it, but it will definitely be with a credit. And there's ways to interact with entities and with different things of like lower vibrations. But more importantly, is for you to establish yourself at the highest vibration possible so that you can operate and dominate everything that is below that. Okay. So number 6 is when it's compressed, when your biofield is compressed front and back. Okay. So it's like, really, sorry, number 5 was compressed this way. Sorry. Right. It was like this. So if you can imagine it, the biofield would be like this. It wouldn't have this depth. The other issue, the last issue we have is when it's compressed like this and it doesn't have much here or here, just like a sandwich like this. And the other one is like if it was that way, and you're in the center. Hope that makes sense. And so what causes it? A sense of hopelessness, sense of dependency, depression, right? When you lose hope, this will do that. When we become static, when we become without energy, without really big desire for life, when we start falling into this emptiness, careful, it would compress the crap out of your biofield front and back, and there will be other issues, right, because of what it exposes. So careful. These things are like absolute gold. Okay. And I want you to understand that if God gives us a challenge or a situation in our life, it's for our own good. It's so that we develop and we grow into something more powerful and stronger. It's like a training in this earth. Okay. And so it's interesting because these things, as well as the levels of energy, are also in, kind of dance with the chakras, right? Like the crown is your connection to God, absolute. And when you are not sleeping well, when your pineal gland is not properly activated, headaches, depression, those things will 100% block your crown chakra. Okay, living in delusion, too much delusion, right? um Sorry, no, that's the next one, that's the 6th. Living in delusion is the third eye. The problem with the crown is when you don't have a relationship with God. That's really what's going to mainly affect it, and it's going to go into depression when you really are into like materialism, and just like thinking that this life is the only thing, or you're an atheist. Like that will absolutely block your crown chakra, and you will have poor sleep, depression, and headaches, and migraines, and all things like that. Okay. Number 6 over here, so you got your crown chakra, then you got your third eye, which is your intuition. Okay, your clairvoyance, as I mentioned in the other video as well. Okay, and then when you are in dreamland, delusionland, similar to, when it shifts front, when you're too much on that, your third eye gets blocked and your intuition suffers as well. Number 5 over here. Okay, this is your creativity, your voice, your thyroid. Okay, your honesty, and it blocks when you stop telling the truth. Simple as that. When you're not in the truth, your creativity and everything just gets blocked. So I pray and I ask that if anyone has a crown or a third eye or a, truth chakra block, that it be removed, that it be open in the name of Christ right now. Number 4, over here, we got love, the love chakra, which is loving others, forgiveness. It has to do with your lungs, with your heart, asthma, It's people that will struggle with a blocked heart chakra. You'll be cold, hard to love on people. I've been trying to open my heart chakra, and again, there's degrees of openness, right? So it's not just like a one time open. There's multiple things. Again, it's complex, right? But in reality, it's not that complex, because really, if you chose to be present and following the will of God, which is the utmost highest, devotion you can do, then you'll always be safe. You'll always be protected, and it will open up naturally. Okay, very key. Number 3, your power. Okay, your solar plexus, your power has to do with your will, has to do with your power, has to do with people that suffer from it, gastritis, and um, when you are dissatisfied, when you are, ungrateful and just unhappy with the situation around you, when you feel you've lost control, when you feel you're losing control, or you're struggling to give up control, that's when that chakra gets blocked. Okay. Number 2, I'm going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. It's your sacral or your sexual chakra. And has to do with lust, with impotence, with kidneys, with your genitals, with sexuality overall. And really, this is about the way that you communicate, the way you interact with the opposite sex, the way you interact with your sexual energy. And if you are in sin, in sexual immorality, or homosexuality, or anything like that, it will 100% block it, because we were not meant to do that. The crazy thing is that you can ask some of your higher bodies, to tell you really what's your gender, and it will tell you exactly what's your gender, right? So it's like we actually have an embedded mechanism. No one can say they were born one way when they weren't, right? It's like if I ask the subtle body of someone that says they were born the opposite, but the body tells me differently, it won't be. And I really believe that there's multiple factors, of course, like generational sin, generational curses, sin in general will transmit from generation to generation. Someone can be born propense to it 100%. Same way how someone can be propense to alcoholism or other things. Now, it's not past and it can't be fixed anymore, but it definitely has a level of influence. But ultimately, it's to each person whether or not they're gonna unblock them and align themselves back, whether they started with the most difficult and with the most influence of demonic forces or sin or whatever it is, or whether they started perfect and they still chose to go the other way. We all have free will, my friends. And then the last one, of course, is the survival one, your root chakra, which has to do with fear, your adrenal, your legs, your bones, anxiety, etc. Okay, so very, very key. To work with energy, you got to be able to understand your biofield and understand your chakras. That's one of the main key things. There's a lot of things that to be said about chakras, but there's a lot of information out there. But it, again, is just the base right now that we're trying to establish from all different things. Okay. Now, the body works on a very key um, principle, like the battery principle. Also, the parable of the talents is another great example of how energy works. Whoever has, even more will be given. And whoever has not, even what he has will be taken away. Same thing with energy. If we have energy in surplus, we want to save it. If we have energy supplied in deficit, we want to give it away. Okay. And I know it might be, kind of interesting to realize that, but that is just the way that energy works. And that will be really key in the way that you interact with energy. Okay. Very key to understand that there's different energy sources. Okay. Number 1, of course, we have our internal chakras that we just went through. Okay. Those give energy and we can supply from that. Okay. Number 2, it's our body. Okay, like when we nourish it, when we run, when we do certain things, when we put in certain action and force, with our works, with our doing, there's certain energy that our organism is kind of given. Okay. Number 3, there's obviously energy sources from the 4th and 5th dimension. These are the astral plane and the celestial plane. Okay. Cosmos, the earth, like all of these different things are sources of energy. Okay. And the common denominator of this is our spherical wave, which is going to bring us into superpowers. This is very key to understand as well. And again, like I mentioned, that Jesus was a master at taking energy vertically from the Father and then giving horizontally, which I believe is the best way as well. And in short, you really want to keep mindful of give you or suck your energy, so you can start playing with energy and you're able to tap and you're able to save when you need to save and give away when you need to give away. Also, whatever you give always comes back, so you always have to have that law too, because even when you give, your energy out of a deficit, like I said, it will be in more proportion, just like the poor widow in the Bible. Okay. Number 6 here. Okay, the energy that you have from a good diet and a proper sleep will also influence. Another influencer here. One interesting fact, though, is that when our body is breaking down food, our brain doesn't take energy. So the brain is always working on the most important thing. That's how our energy system works. That's how our brain works. It says, oh, we gotta, be breaking down food over here. And so it will start doing just that, but you won't be able to use your brain for a lot more than that. Okay, it won't allow you a certain level of thought or a certain level of energy. Okay, and we need this energy to develop the superpowers once again. Okay, so when we eat everything, we do not accumulate energy. We spend it in elimination and breakdown. And that's what happens. We start spending this energy. And so it's hard for our brains to be fully focused when we are eating. And that's why, honestly, some of the most advanced meditators and they do a lot in fasting, because that's really when your brain is fully focused on the task at hand. And you'll rarely see someone that would stuff themselves and then go into meditation. Is going to be harder to accumulate and get to that energy. Okay, and our goal, as we said before, is to accumulate as much energy as possible. That way you can use it for many things: healing the etheric body, healing, restoring. I was literally just reading John 9 earlier today, and Jesus healed this man's eyesight. He put clay in his eyes. He's playing with the earth element with that helps like substantiate, that helps bring a creation in. And interestingly enough, he spit on the ground, making this clay out of it. He impregnated the desire through faith in the Akasa principle, used the earth element to essentially materialize the desire from the akasa, from the astral, from the kind of higher planes into the physical, which is what the earth element allows you to do. It allows you to materialize the things that are in the other planes. One of the common practices as well, of initiates and like true hermetics and true magicians, is that they will see certain things in the astral plane or in the mental plane, and they're able to materialize it to the point that even someone could see a ghost in front of you with an untrained eye. Okay, and this is really, really key, because that's what the earth element does. And it can also help you restore and create from thin air eyes, because this man was born blind. And it's interesting because that his disciples ask him, who sinned? They asked Jesus this, like, who sinned, this man or his parents? And Jesus said, neither the man nor his parents sin, but that the works of God be made manifest. And so it was really, really cool, because this miracle happened and it was for our testimony. And really, in this case, neither the sin of the parents nor his was the problem. This was just something that God had intended for this life purpose. Now this man is written in the New Testament forever, right? So very, very cool. Over here, another note is you don't want to mix your carbs with protein, and this is really hard to do because we're used to eating like a lot of things that have the carbs with the protein. But if you can, start separating that. Okay, you want to have morning fruit on an empty stomach, and you want to really develop this intuition, because every person is different, and really most of the common knowledge of nutrition and whatnot is bogus. Okay, mostly our beliefs control our biology, and so we can make out of fast food something amazing, or out of organic something amazing, and only the people that are really operating in the only law of cause and effect, or law of action, some of the lower laws of the physical plane, will really be affected by, a food that has chemicals, or like these things our bodies can easily in 2 seconds convert it and transmute that energy to something else. But the key, my friends, is your intention. The key is your belief. You are the placebo. And if you have enough belief and enough energy, you can transmutate a crappy food into a superfood with just your thought alone. It's one of the most powerful things that we can do as humans when it comes to our food, right? Of course, we want to eat the best quality food, but if you remember back in the Garden of Eden, first of all, no one ate meat, which is interesting. We had a diet similar to monkeys, okay? Nuts, fruits, vegetables. Would just go, rub it, that's it. And it would give you energy for a long time, no problem, right? And now we're like so conditioned to all this eating. The reality is we don't even really need a lot of the thing, like half or nearly as many as the ones they say they do. A lot of them are just trying to get you to, buy into something. But yeah, I mean, when we move or transmit impulses, the food nutrients become wasted. Okay, so instead of energy being given to our organs after digestion, it gets lost, and that's why we want to be able to separate the carbs from the proteins. Okay, we want to be drinking 2 glasses of water in the morning, 4 glasses of water in the afternoon, and another two in the evening. If you're drinking, around there, that's perfect. If you're not, you gotta drink more water. Fats with carbs are okay, small portions, and often is always best. Okay. Now, our body is always analyzing the situation. Okay. So when you're eating food, if there's little food, your body says to your metabolism, you gotta stock up. If you're only eating like once every day, your metabolism is gonna slow down because your body will know that, hey, we don't consume that much food. We gotta be able to save it. And so it will change your metabolism. If you eat many times with small portions, like I recommend, you're going to feel abundant and your metabolism is going to be fast. So you want to train your body. Your body's like a machine. Okay. And the reality is, we're so far from understanding like our true nature, right? That like we're just starting to begin, like we're starting to dispel some myths of the previous generation, but the new generation also has like barely any clue. So I'm giving you here some of the like more higher advanced things that actually are corresponding to our energetic body, because in reality our etheric body is the one controlling, like, the health of your body. I'll tell you, my mentor said that he talked to people that were like high advanced, like ninjas in like martial arts, and these guys would receive a wound with like a whole knife deep in their bodies, like in the side of their stomach or something, and in one day, my friends, one day, one single day, they could fully recover from this wound. It almost seems unreal, but it's true. Why? Because they've known and they've practiced the art of accumulating energy in your etheric body, and through the etheric matrix, it's passing that onto our body. And our body now can heal so much faster, and it becomes almost like a super body. Okay. So we got to understand, my friends, that we can't fight God's design. And the more we fight with nature, the more we're going to cause trouble, because nature has existed way longer than us, and if we're trying to go against it and do our own rules, we're gonna be losing. So yeah. The other key here as well is that once you start going into these deeper states and you change your diet, you're going to start to think and process information so much faster. It's what we call the super fast thoughts, super normal abilities. And an interesting case here is that in cold countries, women store fat in their bellies a lot more to protect their babies, right? Your body just kind of knows that you won't have enough energy, and so it starts sending fat and sending, this extra layer for the baby in your gut. Now, in the countries that are hot, that have hot weather, women will accumulate it in their buttocks. in their legs. Why? Because it doesn't need it in their stomachs. Body moves it differently depending on what it is. A lot of the hot countries to be in better shape for bigger distances and run and all these different things, right? And so again, it's so our bodies, I don't want to say evolve, but they adapt, right? Depending on what it is. In a way, it's like a certain evolution, but I consider evolution only when they go from one type to another. Adaptations and evolution are different. But anyways, number 10, well, I just got them here just listed. But another one here, of course, is that even though you can get what you need if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, just the way that our society works right now, my mentor, he doesn't recommend people going vegetarian, although I do believe that if we're going to go back to the original design where we only ate fruits, vegetables, and nuts and stuff like that, then that will be it as far as our main diet. But right now, because we need a lot more protein, most people that are vegetarians are not getting the nutrition they need. And so they won't be able to develop the superpowers because they won't have enough energy accumulated in their bodies because of their poor diet. Also, eliminating sugar, eliminating hard drugs, eliminating alcohol, and again, these are just some of the recommendations, but I believe that when you can have certain things in moderation, you are able to do just fine. We are also going to talk about water. Okay, you're supposed to be drinking half of your body mass, okay, in water. And when we drink water, it's about 200 millivolts. When we pee it, it's about 70 millivolts, okay, and that's kind of the decomposition process. So yeah, that's really it when it comes to that. I want to also now talk about a little bit of working with the human field, and we talked about the different issues that arise with the human field. But first question is, what is a biofield? Okay, a biofield, as I said before, is all your 13 subtle bodies that exist in humans. Okay, and I'm not gonna go into them, just now, but as I said before, for now, just have it into your physical, your soul, and your spirit. Your physical is the body you see. Your astral or your soul is where your mind, your will, and your emotions and your experiences live. And your spirit is that part that can communicate with God, that part that is eternal, that part that is transient. Okay, so our physical body mainly deals with all kinds of garbage, right? It's our flesh. And funny enough, even though we've glorified the physical body, it's actually the least important, according to, I believe, how God made us. Then you got the etheric body, which is the one I was talking about, where you can heal wounds overnight and dramatic speed of healing. And as a matter of fact, for people that want to be healers, this is one of the main keys of understanding, seeing, etc. your etheric body. You don't want to let it get sick. Okay. And so when you give energy, to your etheric body, through like life or through like chi, through like spirit of life, right? Our etheric body can now catch up and send the proper energy to our physical body to now work and do the change and the healing. Okay, so how do you see the etheric body? I recommend doing it with 3D pictures, being able to defocus your gaze and be able to see them like you would see one of those 3D pictures. That will do it. Okay, you have to lose your focus and look at the subject. Okay, then as I said before, you got your astral body, which is the body of desires, experiences, the body of our feelings. So when a person falls asleep, his astral body usually leaves the physical body and it returns in the morning. A lot of the times I have some crazy dreams, guys, and I wake up and I'm very fractured. I feel very, like I've been somewhere, and I feel almost like, like, because my astral body was away, and with my emotions, with my mind, with my right. And then when I kind of come back into this body, it's usually like hard. It's hard to kind of like adapt. And sometimes I can start my day vibrating at a very low frequency, and I feel fear even from the get-go, and I can't even explain why. But this is one of the reasons why. Okay, so you want to wake up slowly, no crazy alarms or anything like that, because you want to be able to make it smooth, this transition. Otherwise, believe me, you feel really fractured and you start developing like blocked emotions, and you don't even know why this is happening. Okay. Another interesting thing about working with the human field is that you can ask questions to your different bodies. You literally can imagine one of your bodies and you can ask a question. You can establish a connection like with God and with this spherical wave. And literally you'll be able to, either just talk and get an answer from your higher body, or also ministering spirits, right? Like the Bible says in Hebrews that aren't all angels ministering spirits sent for those that are going to inherit salvation. And so that's one of the main key things as well. And yeah, God will help you answer those questions again, whether it's through one of your 12 bodies. I'm not counting the flesh one, but one of your 12 bodies, or directly from an angel. Okay, so you gotta imagine all 13 bodies and then ask a question in confidence, no doubt, to that third body, through your mental body, for example. Okay. And so your mental body is the body of your thoughts and the knowledge. And this is our belief and our information. Okay. And it's not limited to just a spherical shell, it has the ability to control other mental bodies. Okay. That's what the mental body is able to do. So this is your, your fourth body. So when you learn to let it go, for example, you let go of your mental body. And so you can ask a question in the form of images and send directly to it. Okay, as I said before, the images are one of the key bridges between your linear thoughts and your beta waves and into the other higher state, where now you can access super thought and words of knowledge, words of wisdom. Okay. These are from 1 Corinthians 12, and I believe are gifts that are given by the Holy Spirit. And all gifts are irrevocable, so believers and non-believers can have it. But of course, God has given it to us that we use it for His glory. So, you can always imagine standing, over the other body, almost like a capsule, and you can ask a question. You can generate your question, and you can just kind of like run into it. You kind of run into the answer, like in deep meditation, in this like lighter trance. So yeah, your mental body has the ability to communicate with other mental bodies, and it's the fourth level. Okay, so from body 1 to 4 mostly operate in the physical, and of course it's kind of like, as we understand it, from the body 5th to the 8th, it's our soul. That's where the astral plane moves, and from the 9th to the 13th, it's our celestial plane. Okay. And so, yeah, we belong to the immortal component, right? Like our main origin was in spirit. So that's very key, and it's very cool to know too, to know who you truly are. You're a God, right? You're a spirit given by the living God. And so, yeah, when you ask your body or any of your bodies a question, you can directly ask the body you want. The you want will answer. Okay. And so your aura becomes this component, right, that kind of links all these bodies, and they become your aura, your auric field, your human field. So question is, how can we learn to see our thin bodies? And so you want to be able to look carefully. You want to be able to look at your hand with this defocused gaze, for example, against some light or against, a white surface, preferably thin glow around it. And then if you keep working on that, that glow will turn into different colors. And then you'll be able to see, this mix between, the different colors, which should be juicy and red and vibrant, right? If you have all your chakras aligned, or you might be able to find holes in the person, just depending. But nonetheless, you want to try to relax, and you want to try to look at your hand and just kind of gaze and spread your eyes, so you can use your peripheral vision instead of your concrete vision. Okay. And so when that certain glow appears around your hand, this glow is the first step to seeing your biofield. And you can just kind of keep concentrating on it. This, of course, will take time, something I'm still developing myself, but this is basically how you do it. Okay, so you need to learn to lose kind of concentration. You want to almost like gaze the focus. Again, these 3D images are excellent for that. Okay, you want to be able to look at the 3D images at least 1 minute a day, which is one of the main key exercises here. Okay, after 2 to 3 minutes, you will see a white light outline around your body. Okay, and this is a simple glow, but it will be given out by certain overflows. Okay, so within 2 to 3 weeks training, I believe you'll be able to see this, and you'll be able to see this glow almost like a protective shell around your body, and you can after understand this same glow around objects, around animals, around anything. Okay, but yeah, once you do start to see the colors, which are based on the chakras or on objects and different textures, etc., they will give a certain different color and vibration. And so you must see a very nice, beautiful mix, okay, of juicy, beautiful colors. And again, you'll go from seeing the white biofield with this glow into now seeing like colors. Okay, and you want to be able to detect holes in someone to see where there's an issue, or you might be able to see the biofield that is shifted from left to right, from back, like we talked about with some of those issues. So literally by you looking at a person, you technically will be able to know exactly everything that's right or wrong with them. No one can hide in those planes once you start developing those things. No one can lie to you, right? Because you'll be able to see right through. So that's the first exercise, to just see the gaze, your biofield. You want to start cultivating with these 3D images. Okay, and if you do see dark holes in someone, then of course they have a certain disease, right? You want to turn the person sideways so you can see exactly the whole shape. It should be this very nice shell, perfectly, round, with a good length, depending on how much you can see. But this is how you will be able to tell if they got dark spots or whatnot. Okay, and so for example, if the first chakra is blocked, you will see a dark red light. You won't see a juicy bright red. You'll see a dark red. You'll know it's blocked. Same with any of the colors. When there's that darkness, you'll know there's something wrong as it relates to that chakra, as well as how it affects the overall biofield. So you want to be able to distinguish colors in principle rather quickly. Those who heal, will be able to work with that very easily. And so the chakras are indicators of our body state. Okay, they're not just these energy chakras and that's it, but they're these indications that we can see what's working and what is not working. Okay, and our chakras just gonna become almost like this, uh, modern way or ancient way, whatever you want to call it, of diagnosing and healing someone. I really believe that the way that Jesus healed is he could see this, he could see the light, he could see the spirit, he could see the human biofield, and in one instant he'll know what's wrong with the person. He could just touch them and will do the healing according to each corresponding plane. Because anyways, I'm not gonna go into that, but there's definitely different dynamics depending on where the issue mainly is at, whether it's in the causal or whether it's in the astral or whether it's in the physical. It will heal different depending on what it is, but the causal is the most powerful, so you can't go wrong with that once you master. Sorry about that, guys. I pressed the button by accident. Mm-mm-mm. Give me one sec. All right, we'll just keep going here. Anyways, so yeah, as a rule of thumb, you want to be able to wave your hand pretty much and diagnose this. And so in order to heal someone, you can just look at this kind of white spots or dark spots that you see, very concentrated and key. With your left hand, you are able to receive energy, and with your right hand you give energy. For women is the opposite, by the way. Okay, so the biofield helps determine the nature of a person. Okay, you can look at his intention and every little detail, because the human biofield really contains all the information, as I said. Well, the biofield really contains all the information for everything, whether it's humans or animals or objects. You can really see them that way, which is really key. So yeah, you want to be able to learn to see that human biofield, and the biofield will definitely be needed to work with telekinesis and to work with different subtle bodies and subtle objects. So yeah, that's definitely one of the big pieces here. So yeah, once you the diet, the meditation, the chakras, and all that part, you want to be able to interact with the human field this way. You want to open all your 7 chakras, and you want to be able to receive energy with your left hand, give with your right hand. And as I said before, full relaxation is absolutely needed to be able to meditate and interact with telekinesis. Okay, very key. Levitation also requires this state of alpha, and will also require polarization of your thoughts, which we need to increase the magnetic fluid in us to be able to cause the same fluid that holds us down in gravity to be able to repel it. Really key as well. You got to be able to do like directional upwards, downwards movement, polarization, different things. Definitely something I'll be studying later on. Any limiting belief, by the way, will definitely sabotage you, and you won't be able to achieve this, which is also really interesting. So yeah, the more certainty you have, the more likely you'll be able to achieve it. So exercise number 1, guys, as I said, is learning to see the human biofield, with your hand, with the 3D pictures and the focus, very subtle. Number 2, the other exercise is being able to do the vacuum of silence, the mental vacuum, where you really do get devoid of thought and image, both. You banish all thought form. And you can literally imagine this will help you. You can imagine yourself as this little person brooming and sweeping away any thoughts that come in or any pictures that come in. Really, really key, which is, I think a cool visualization to help you do this, because it's not easy. But yeah, telekinesis requires to be at an alpha level, and it just requires that your neurons can vibrate at that frequency, because that's the only frequency that can perceive those things. Okay, so you want to be able to banish your thoughts for at least like 5 to 10 minutes. You want to be able to do this with your eyes closed and then with your eyes open. You want to do it in a dark room, and you want to also be doing it in a light room. You want to have these different external elements play through, and you still be able to create the same mental vacuum, which is really interesting. Okay. Later on, another exercise number 3, you want to be able to stare at an object and be able to almost like abstract yourself from it. Okay, this is really key as well, because it allows you to kind of like defocus your consciousness pretty much to the point where you don't see like the dot or like wherever you're staring. It almost like becomes peripheral, And again, this is playing with both, it's playing with both the third eye and your clear. Oh man, blanked out. But yeah, your third eye basically. This is why you're playing with that peripheral vision. Another exercise is you want to actually sit in a crowded place. This is really, really hard, by the way. You want to be in like a loud room with your eyes open and with your eyes closed, and you want to be able to just stare at one spot and be able to create that same mental vacuum. That's going to be really, really hard to do, but it will help you a lot. Then once you master that, you can walk among other people. You can try to sync to the tempo of the crowd, and you can do it in the park, in a loud place, and just walk. Just simply look forward with your peripheral sight, and this means that you can see everything on your peripheral, but you're not staring at anything directly. Very key. And as you walk, you can start to play and focus on different organs. You can focus on kind of on and off switching the sensitivity on your knee, on your left leg, on your right leg. And these are exercises that again will completely help you with your attention and be able to get rid of everything else very easily. Okay, and one of the key things here is your perception. As I mentioned, it's one of the tools of Titans, your perception. And you want to be able to turn on and off your perception in different things, and you want to be able to do it as you're walking or as you're creating this mental vacuum. Okay, exercise number 5 is going to be your tonal muscle activity. For this, you want to just grab a towel. You want to pull from each extreme, kind of like with your arms like that, and then you straighten it for 1 minute, and then after you want to do this movement and see how much are you able to do. The pros and athletes are able to do all the way up here, and depending on where you are, you might fall on 1, 2, or 3. And personally, I think on 2 or 3, not sure. You gotta do it again. But yeah, you want to be able to hold from 1 minute and then the release, and then ask yourself, like, what level are you? Level 1 is from 8 to 8 and 4 o'clock, right? Like, imagine like a clock almost, right? Level 2 is 9 and 3. Level 3 is 10 and 2, and level 4 is 11 and 1. And so if you have the right diet, if you're drinking water, if you have an amazing sleep and all that, you definitely are gonna be, developing a greater tonal energy, a tonal activity. Okay, so you want to be able to record it in a notebook and be able to kind of keep track on how you progress on this. Bad sleep, bad diet, combining your proteins and carbs will keep you stuck at level 1, by the way. Okay, so yeah, when it comes to sleep, you want to be able to sleep from at least 7 to 8 hours, I would say. For example, go to bed at 10 and wake up at 5. Okay, as I said, you want to have a fruit in empty stomach, and you want to have your carbs and your proteins separated. So yeah, one interesting fact here, guys, is that God made us so we can get a charge of vitamins like extremely fast, and that's with fruits. That's why I'm saying, like, I believe we're 100% meant to just eat these fruits. And maybe the fruits at the beginning of the Garden of Eden had all the ingredients, and we literally didn't need anything else, which is amazing. So yeah, after you do that, exercise number 6 is you want to now measure your brain tonal activity. And so you might recall the ballerina that's spinning with like one leg, right? You can find it on YouTube. You want to be able to switch from left hemisphere to right hemisphere. Whichever hemisphere you see is the one that's working the most powerful right now in your personal life. You want to be able to train your mind to be able to switch from one to another. And the reason why this is going to be extremely key is because later when you're going to be working with images, your left or counterclockwise will be emitting a signal, and your right, you're going to be receiving a signal. And so this is going to be key to work with these spherical waves, as we talked about. Okay, exercise number 7, talking about the 7-meter test. Now what you want to do is you want to measure 7 meters. So let's say like from here all the way to like the end of the hall over there, right? And you want to be able to walk first with your eyes open, and again, no thought. Then you want to start at the beginning, and you want to feel that movement with your eye, with your eyes closed. You want to be able to see it in your mind's eye. And then you want to walk with your eyes closed and see how close or how far are you from ending accurately from one place to the other. Okay, the more accurate, of course, the better. And so yeah, I mentioned before that levitation will require attention and concentration, which is the same principles of telekinesis, but it's also going to require like polarization of thoughts and direct movement. You'll have to actually control the upwards and downwards direction. Okay, but yeah, all these superpowers we're talking about should be just a byproduct of developing ourselves. So develop yourself, work on developing yourself, work on developing your relationship with God, and the superpowers will definitely come. Okay, with telekinesis, as I mentioned before, it's more about understanding the field of different objects and being able to lock in with that field, right? So for example, if I got this ring right here, this ring actually has a specific field, and if I'm able to lock with it, I'm able to play with it and interact with it. Just these are videos I'll be doing later on, but this is just more of the theory of it. You can teach your brain to work for you, right? You can learn, like as I said, to ask questions to your subtle bodies, and they'll give you the answer, which is absolutely essential here. So all this, you know, uh, abilities in reality are abilities that every human has, because we're all made in the image of God, and we all have these subtle bodies. And I also like to distinguish the supernatural abilities that are manipulated in the energy world, in the astral plane, versus the ones given from the Holy Spirit, which I believe are interacting in a higher realm, which is the realm of faith, the realm of the, uh, the gifts of the Holy Spirit, 1 Corinthians 12, etc. Okay. I like to call it, just for sake of simplicity, developing your sixth sense, which is all this powers I'm talking about: telekinesis, levitation, pyrokinesis, aerokinesis, any type of like psychic, any type of teleportation, like all those things I believe happen in the fourth dimension with your sixth sense. And then there you got the celestial ones, which are now with the Spirit of God, and that's like a divine direct intervention that 100% requires Yahweh and Christ to be able to interact with you at that plane or at that level. Okay. So yeah, it's really key also to understand that everything that's past, present, or future lives in the now. So you can access all versions of yourself, past, present, or future, in the now, which is absolutely mind-blowing. And you can access your subconscious through the now, which is one of the key pieces as well of relaxation, of meditation, all these different things. Okay. Now, exercise number 8, we go deeper into visualization. Okay. And this is the work with imagery, and how to work also with the biofield, or the aura that we talked about. So let's talk about how we remember objects. And this is really awesome, because when you see an object, the photons of light of the object almost get stored in our optic nerves. So, a lot of people call visualization memory, right? These are images that get recorded here. And the crazy thing is that our subconscious knows this. So when we see something, we already know the full shape of it. The only difference is that we're using our eyes to judge instead of using true judgment, which is intuition, which is with those higher senses, where I can perceive the shape of a cup on the other side, whether it has a handle or doesn't have a handle, without seeing it. How can you do that? By perceiving it with your intuition. Okay, so the photons of lights are reflected from this object, and they fly into our eyes, and they settle on the cones of our eyes. So that's how we define color and light. That's what our eyes do. So we see an object, and these photons come, and then they become these optic waves, right? That basically gets stored in our subconscious. And the crazy thing too, guys, by the way, is that memory is not just on the brain. Like, we actually have memory in every single cell, because everything is connected to our biofield, which is absolutely insane. So yeah, visualization will be your memories, will be your images. And so you want to be able to work with different objects and be able to visualize them really clear, almost like render them, right? So when you know how to work with the field, you will also learn what is visualization, right? Because you'll be able to understand the subtle differences, you'll be able to feel them, and then you also be able to see them. So your your clairsentience and your clairvoyance start mixing into one for the achievable result of like what we want to do, right? So, really, your will is what will kind of command this visualization. And then the visualization is what will interact with the biofield. And that's when we're able to lock it. That's when we're able to manipulate and and start to work with the objects, start to levitate them, move them, etc. Right? A lot of people think it's some crazy dark magic or some crazy like astral beings, and sure, I'm sure there's some demons and some angels that can help you if that's the route you take. But every single human has access to this. The key is developing it, which is hard. Okay. Another thing here too is that your subconscious is one of the key aspects of working with visualization, because our conscious usually gets a lot in the way. So you want to be able to like bypass your conscious by getting into that alpha state we talked about before. You want to be able to feel the object almost like subconsciously, right? You want to be able to see it and feel it, the field of the object. See and feel the field of the object, the field of humans, the field of animals. You want to be able to both see and feel. And the visualization, of course, as we said, has to be in this full relaxed state. You want to be able to make this object in 3D, and you almost want to be able to rotate it in your mind. You want to be able to see every angle, every nook and cranny, and you want to be able to see it so clear as if you're seeing it with your eyes open. That's gonna be one of the main keys, to be honest. And the truth here, guys, is that anytime that you look at any object, animal, or person or place, the whole field of it remains in your subconscious, remains in your head. But the problem is we don't see it, right? And we don't get in tune with it. So it's really hard for us. But it's the truth. We see the whole 9 yards, and a great example my mentor gave is, imagine you're doing a project, like a construction project, and you have right? And in this USB, you have all the data. You have like the plans, the budget, the measurements. You have everything, and it's all contained in this USB. But you won't know it until you plug it into your computer, and so it's very similar. Once you put it into that computer, you'll be able to see all the data, but you can't get to that computer until you tune into it. Okay, but yeah. Another so once you have the feel of the object, you'll be able to learn to rotate it, right? So once you can really see it, you'll be able to see it from every angle, which is absolutely phenomenal. Exercise number 9, you want to be able to go maybe to like the supermarket or somewhere, and you want to be able to imagine a cup or imagine a plate or something, right? Like based on something that you're seeing, but you want to be able to only see half of it, and then guess what's on the other side. Does it have a sticker? Does it have a handle? Does it have a tag? Does it, and just by feeling it and by sensing it, you'll be able to see it. So number 1, you look at a cup. Number 2, you like drain that information and those photons, and you render the field and you construct it inside your head. And you might be even able to look inside of it too. My mentor said it's also possible to read a book without opening it. Imagine, because you know all the information that it contains there just by the field it's radiating, which is insane. So do the tonal and brain activity, learn how to relax, learn how to feel, learn how to develop the skills, and how to work with energy, and how to work with the biofield, how to improve your intuition. Okay, so we talked about meditation and relaxation so you can get to that alpha state, working with the field, reading the field. You want to talk about concentration so that you can get into that alpha mode. And when you get into that alpha mode, by the way, you're going to feel time slowing down. You want to be able to feel that time is just like still. And that's one of the key pieces here. Okay, so yeah, the slow development is good. I know this exercise will help you do that. And so your brain doesn't take telekinesis or superpowers seriously. And why? It's because none of us really believe, just naturally that we can even do all of this stuff. Our society has really trained us to think that all those things are like outside of the realm of possibilities. And so that's why I'm one of those crazy guys that I actually believe it's doable, and we'll be able to not only teach it but prove it as well, and that will awaken the human potential to another level and another degree. Okay, so we got a couple more exercises, and then we'll be wrapping this up. Yeah, I got a couple more pages, but again, I just wanted to put them all down so that I'm able to, obviously see them for myself, but more importantly, just put them here for posterity. Okay, so here's another point. Another exercise. Okay, and you want to be able to only move if it's 75% or more, right? So you want to be able to grab these different cards and put them inside a cup or a box, and you want to be able to determine the color of the card. want to be able to determine not just the color of the card, but which one is empty and which one is not. So you might take 3 cards, or so you might take 2 cards and 3 cups, and then you might be able to say, okay, which one's the red one, which one's the blue one, which one's empty, just by sensing it. Okay. Another exercise is reading the number of dice. So you put this dice into, like, same thing, like a cup or an opaque glass. And yeah, you want to be able to read the number. You'll be able to actually read and feel the top, the side, the bottom. Start with 1 dice first, then add to 3. Another great exercise is the visualization and fulfillment of your dreams. So what you want to do here is, this is one of the key pieces to manifestation, by the way, is you want to bring that dream life to the now. You want to feel it, you want to experience it, right? And then you want to be able to, like, release and let go counterclockwise. You give that, you emit that signal, right? And you want to be able to do this as well with picking out the cards. You want to be able to shuffle it, and in your mind have that one specific card that you want. For example, let's say that you envision the jack, the red jack. And so you want to be able to retain that image of the red jack, and then you want to give that elevated emotion of certainty and manifestation, feeling it, feeling that biofield, feeling that spherical wave, and then you give it. And so after you shuffle, really, you'll be able to pick it, and you'll see the red jacks. It's really crazy. That's what really advanced magicians, like I believe like Darren Brown or Chris Angel, do. And what they do is that it's like they really they put it out there, and then they manifest it in the shuffle, and they grab exactly that card. How? It's because it's built in the akasa, right? They're manifesting in the mental, and so once they push it, they're able to manifest it in the physical, which is really crazy. But it's the same principle of manifestation, of like feeling it and embodying that frequency, and then being able to release it, but retaining that energy. Okay. Another exercise is going to be with 42 cards. Okay. And are going to be cards or a white piece of paper. What you want to do is you want to write different numbers from 1 to 42, and you want to concentrate exactly on the number you want, and you want to be able to kind of like untwist that counterclockwise and release it from your body. And to be honest with you, this is really, really crazy, because you can, like, this is the type of stuff that you can do to like predict like the lotto, or like guess different cars, and what you do is you pull it with your left hand, because that's the one that's always kind of receiving information. So when you're really advanced with this, you'll be able to detect which number it was from 1 to 42, and you can also pull out the desired number. So you're like, oh, I'm thinking of number 13, and then you shuffle them and you'll get that number. It's pretty insane. Okay. Now, once you've been able to guess with like 80% of accuracy, then you can move to the next exercise, which you will basically do the same thing, 1 to 42, but this time, instead of numbers 1 to 42, you'll do different things, like different tools or veggies or fruits or animals or places. And again, this is just more metaphorical than anything, because you don't want to read the word necessarily. You want to be able to just feel the image and the vibration of that. Anyways, exercise number 15 here, it's the pulling events. Okay. And again, this is very key to manifestation as well, very similar to the other one. You want to be able to imagine a specific event, like a call that you have, or a text that you want to get, or that you imagine yourself getting, meeting with someone, etc. You want to be able to do that. You want to be able to scroll through that event for at least half a day. Okay, you want to be able to retain the feeling, the emotion, the embodiment, the energy, right? And then once you create that image, you can kind of give it and throw it out of your body now into the realm. Okay, so it's almost like you visualize this image, you really feel it, you draw it back into your life, you embody it, and then you let it go. And then that's the process. And the more energy that you accumulate by focusing on that one scenario, but at the same time releasing it fully, to let the laws do its thing without any blockage. That would be one of the main keys. Okay. Now, let's talk about a little bit more about like the telekinesis exercises, and we'll kind of finish and wrap up with that. So, as we said before, you want to be in that deep alpha state, but still awake, right? Still present. There's no need to be leaving your mental body on this one, right? Even though you could when you're in deep alpha state. But yeah, you want to be vibrating at 16 to 17 hertz, which is the beginning of telekinesis. You want to do a full vacuum in your head, as we talk about this, complete darkness, complete silence. Okay. You want to be able to do it with your eyes open, with your eyes closed, with a bright room, with a quiet room, with a loud room. You want to be able to have all these elements and still be able to master it so that you can do it at any place, anytime. Okay. And even on the crowded place. Then another exercise is you grab 3 blank cards. Okay. And on one of them, you're going to draw a black stripe with a Sharpie. And you want to measure the black stripe against the white one. Again, this is shuffling it and without seeing, but you just want to be able to feel which one is which. And just as a rule of thumb, the more information you have on something, like something written on it, etc., the more that it's loaded, the more vibration that you're going to feel. So look for these things. Next exercise, the same thing, but with shapes. You want to be able to have one card that has like a circle drawn, another card that has a triangle drawn, another card that has a square drawn. And then these things actually have different weights depending on their angles. You'll be able to feel this as well. So you want to be able to mix and shuffle it, take it with your left hand, which is what we always do. You want to be able to feel each object or each figure. Then once you master the shapes, you want to go into the color count. Same thing, one card is going to be blue, one card is going to be green, one card is going to be red. And just as a rule of thumb, blue, the blue color, anything that has blue tints, will always kind of display more of a colder kind of wave, and you'll be able to feel this. Versus green, which is more of a neutral wave, versus red, which is more of a warm wave. Okay, and so you're not trying to see the color. In this case, you're trying just to feel it because they will be shuffled, right? And so, yeah, after you start really playing and getting this right, you want to be able to be at like 80%, 85% before you move on to the next exercise. Okay. Then you want to be able to differentiate between the masculine energy of like a blackjack versus the feminine energy of a queen, for example. One will be more cold, pain, kind of destructive, like, kind of more breaking down energy. The other one would be more tender, affectionate, more emotional, more warm, right? Again, you want to be able to read this biofield and analyze it. And only when you got 90% or more, then you let it go. And you can go into the next exercise, which is with 3 empty boxes or 3 empty cups. You want to be able to have one box that has like maybe like a metal washer or something that's metal, okay, or something that's wood, but you want to keep it to the same material, okay. Number 2, you want to be able to kind of measure and calibrate so you know exactly where it lies. So like if it's this big and it's under a cup, then obviously you want to be able to know exactly where it is. You want to be able to feel every single thing. And you want to determine which box is in it with at least a 70% accuracy. Then you move on to the next exercise, which is called, what is the item in this box or in this cup? Again, you want to have 3 different items of the same origin. Maybe one will be a wood ball, a square ball, and maybe a cone shape, or right, like just different shapes but the same material, whether it's metal, whether it's wood. You want to be able to feel these different things and be able to tell, oh, the circle is here, oh, this one is here, oh, this one is that, just by feeling the object field. Another exercise is seeing the object obviously in 3D, in your visualization. Okay, so you want to visualize the seen and the unseen, right? Just by visualizing this object in 3D. So you do not need to be super exact. You can kind of go on some things like being abstract. For example, if you see a label, right, on an object, you don't need to imagine every single word that it says, but you need to know where the label is. Okay, so you can abstract some things, but for the most part, you want to have a really good mental picture. And yeah, you want to develop this clairvoyance with this exercise, right? Of just like seeing it, right? So as you see, we're going from like clairvoyance to like clairsentience to clairsentience. Then another exercise, you want to take a light object, almost like a plastic cup or a ball on the table. You want to be able to look at it, and you want to be able to close your eyes completely. You want to be able to visualize it, and you can do this, as I said, with an abstract level, but you want to have, very clear of, like, you want to be able to appear in your head very, very clear. Okay. Then you want to be able to imagine this ball beginning to roll on the ground near the place of the table where your red physical ball lies. So what you're doing is you're creating a mental matrix, essentially, in your visualization, which moves at the mental plane. And then you're essentially starting to communicate with the field of this ball, but in the mental plane. And then what you want to do is, once you see the ball making the slightest movement, you want to give it an impulse. You want to disperse it quickly, like lightning fast, counterclockwise, because that's how you emit a wave. And you squeeze it through your third eye. You squeeze it so you can connect to that. You can lock that field. Okay, and you kind of give this order, for the ball to move as you're visualizing it, and then as you kind of catch onto it. Okay, you can also give this wave through your hands, and again, as a rule, the left hand receives and the right one gives. I've mentioned this before. For ladies, is the other way around, unless you are a lefty, which again, it will also be the other way around. So yeah, you can do it with both of your hands for this, and obviously we're just emitting the wave with your visualization. And you want to be able to give energy from all your 6 chakras, and then once it starts to move, you order that ball to start moving, and it will become attached to you, and then you can control it, then you can move it, right? So again, it's mastering all these different things so that when you get to this last part, you're able to visualize it really clear. And then once it starts moving, you send that impulse, you squeeze through your third eye, you emit that wave, and then it locks. And then once you lock, that'll be your first locking, and then you can kind of build from there. So you want to imagine kind of going up, for example, right, to get it off the ground. And you want to unwind that image, right, because it starts with an image, and then once that image is very clear, then you send it, right, counterclockwise. So yeah, you want to make almost like your thoughts more dense at this point. You want to give the energy and this impulse, to the ball or object. And I know it's hard to describe, but like that's basically, how. And then later, you want to be able to do it with your eyes open. You won't need to do it with your eyes closed. And actually, you'll be able to see a thin field, and you'll be able to just like press and push, kind of like, press, push and pull, kind of like at the same time. And then you'll be able to like lock it to this field, right? And that's really it, guys. Like those are really the main exercises to like do this. And I paid a lot of money and a lot of time, blood, sweat, and tears to acquire this. So if you're finding this, if you're listening to this video, so blessed. And yeah, I've just listed them all, the exercises out there, just so that they're like getting solidified in my mind, and also that I can share them with you guys. But yeah, so go and get it done. Love you guys, and I'll chat with you soon. Peace.